Launched in 1999, the euro became one of the world's major currencies and a top reserve in a short period of time. But today, the 17-member eurozone is struggling with a debt crisis that threatens its existence. Germany and France are the largest economies in Europe and have been designing a master plan to save the eurozone. One of the strategies under consideration is to make the eurozone more centralized. Domenico Lombardi is with the Brookings Institution.
Crisis has certainly taught that it's impossible to move forward with the current scheme in Europe, whereby on the one hand you have a centralized monetary policy, then you have a loose coordination, weakly implemented of fiscal policies, and no coordination at all in terms of macroeconomic and structural policies.
As EU officials examine the latest plan, Dan Hamilton of Johns Hopkins University says Greece has been their biggest concern and protecting other Eurozone members if Greece fails.
What they don't want to happen is Greece fails and they have failed to put a firewall around Greece so that it runs into all these other countries. And so that's why what seems like muddling through at the moment is sort of a game playing for time. They're trying to create some firewalls. So countries that are more sound, really, these other countries are really much more sound. Greece is the problem.
The debt-ridden Eurozone countries have seen their borrowing costs go up dramatically, especially Italy, which recently was paying more than 7%, an unsustainable rate. France has been in favor of the idea of Euro bonds, but Germany's been against the concept of lending money to fiscally troubled countries. These bonds would give the economies such as Greece, Portugal, Italy, Spain the chance to borrow money quickly for less from the entire Eurozone. Guy Verhofstadt is a leader in the European Parliament.
It can also stop the crisis, block the crisis, because immediately we find a solution for this. The debt of countries as Italy, as Spain, Germany, France, Belgium, Austria, all this could be mutualized and could be reduced as fast as possible.
France and Germany do agree there needs to be a system with more discipline and greater sanctions, perhaps enforced by a more powerful European Commission for those in the Eurozone who break the rules. At the Cato Institute, Dan Mitchell says a more centralized approach like this comes with a cost.
So whether or not you have true economic European Union run out of Brussels, or whether it's de facto European Union economic policy run out of Berlin, it still gets you to the same situation where democracy, in effect, takes a big negative hit, where sovereignty is lost, and you sort of lose the idea that individuals and nations should be responsible for their own behavior.
The solution is complicated, to say the least. Add politics to the equation, and it becomes even more so. Consider Germany's Chancellor, Angela Merkel.
She has to create a new coalition. She has a revolt in her own party. The oppositions are all becoming the great Europeans now, putting pressure on her to show some leadership. So German politics is, a tricky shoal for the Chancellor, and I think she's trying to do that at the same time she manages sort of the European level. At the same time, she sort of managed the international level with the advice coming from Washington and all sorts of places. So it's at least a triple level game here that the Chancellor is having to play.
Dan Hamilton points out the EU, with its 500 million people, is the largest market, the largest trader, and investor in the world, and its collective debt is manageable if there is a desire to share resources.
The better off they'll be.
He says it will depend on how countries see the road ahead.
Politically, that's obviously a very tough thing, because the voters, in the end, taxpayers, are the ones that have to warrant this.
I'm Philip Alexiou, VOA News.